I'm a digital artist, and I have a short presentation for you all about these cars and these artworks and augmented reality and a couple of others that I think is pretty inspiring and cool stuff. So if you want to come and join me on this stage, I will show a small presentation of a video to you, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail about all these metaverses and NFTs and all this kind of stuff. So if you want to come and join me closer to the stage and know what this is about, please come. Well, let's show the video.
I'm a digital mixed media artist. I was first professionally from the year 2000. I was a filmmaker, I did a bunch of music and photography. And then around 2008, that evolved into something that I started calling art novel, which is a mixture of oil portraiture, photography portraiture, through body painting and photography, and Photoshop and nature photography, all of this kind of mixed together as a form of storytelling that is something about going into someone's personal story of who they are, then comparing that to the universal bigger story of humanity and sort of putting it all together inside the frame. I'd made about 350 digital artworks and hodled them ever since 2008, that via NFTs now, and the more side of the high effort NFTs, as they're now increasingly becoming a thing after the low effort ones, can become a new kind of realm through virtual reality, augmented reality, taking a still frame even though it's from 2008, and through the layering make it come alive, and then use augmented reality and VR solutions for that, which ultimately is going to evolve into the direction of artificial intelligence being incorporated into the whole experience. But because I was early in this movement from 2017 from the art side, and I'd done some things in the art world before, for example the Vina Malik project, I reached a lot of people and had critical acclaim. I was always, and the opportunities that I was given to go to these conferences and meet a bunch of people, like do direct commissions to Charlie Lee and the Litecoin Foundation, or meet Charles Hoskinson and work with him. And the art collaboration that we're doing together that ties in now increasingly together with Dr. Marwan, who is the CEO of the Dubai Blockchain Center, and this idea that I presented to him before last Christmas of 2020 of this Tesla that was pictured as an art car. And it didn't take too long that this guy had 17 cars bought, and we're inverting the value pyramid of what a car wrapped in art that comes together with a motion art piece as well as some tokens that are staked for, let's say, for a decade, and it all comes bundled together as an NFT. I'm an art ambassador for Superworld, which is this incredibly exciting new augmented reality platform where we can also build virtual reality galleries like we're doing with this Luxor temple. And Shisha Finance with Saeed Al-Darmaki, who is just putting together for the Middle Eastern regions the evolution of decentralized finance and what kind of waves that is going to do only in that region, but let alone when it even expands from there to be a global powerhouse. Last but not least would be Varia VR. They have these high resolution, 8K resolution virtual glasses. It all sort of ties in with this whole idea of how to evolve the world of art. What art really can do in our lives as some sort of a healing mechanism, but also an excitement mechanism. What are these metaverses? What can we do with these new forms that we're all exploring and putting together, and how we can make new economies happen around them? And this is why I've said for a while that NFTs really are a liberation of a whole creative class of people.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. So maybe we can play the next slide about the Tesla, please. So, what you're looking at here is a 2017 Model S, and it's wrapped in a unique digital artwork called Compound Defiance. And the NFT itself comes wrapped up not only the physical car and the digital artwork that it's wrapped in, but also a virtual reality asset. And therefore, when you buy the whole bundle of it, it becomes a literal vehicle to take you to the metaverse. And we're going to build a world in which those who buy the physical asset and this whole bundle are actually going to be able to drive the virtual reality asset as well. And we might make it into a game, into a very exclusive club, where those who are sort of bought into the project can not only sort of compete against one another with their assets and purchase new kinds of things to the cars and make them more competitive, but also, of course, network. So that's a little bit the kind of packing of functionality into a car like this, which I find super exciting. And maybe even stake some DeFi coins into the whole package as well, from Shisha Finance or something like that, that is staked for 5 years. So if you don't hold on to the car for the 5 years, then you also lose the coins in the deal. So those kinds of things you can really start to play about with. And to begin with, people are going to think that, oh, the most valuable thing about this is the physical car. But it becomes an education to not only to start to understand digital assets and how they're more valuable and they're not depreciable like cars are. Because even if you have a $1 million Lamborghini, as soon as you drive it out the shop, it's about 30-40% less. So it's about 600,000, 700,000 just to drive the first 5 meters. But when you wrap it in art, and then you start to do all these different kinds of compound values on top of that car, you can transform the physical world into something different. And what I really love about these cars as well is that it's kind of the same concept of what Elon Musk was doing with Tesla to begin with. Is that it's a car company, but underneath it's actually transforming the energy grid of the world and how we transport each other and how to make a more sustainable world for each other. So what this comes as an education to the metaverse as well is that we have about 3.5 billion people in the world who don't have a bank account. And what that means is that those people now can skip the Industrial Revolution and start to build digital land, digital goods, digital services all across the world. And maybe that is actually going to be a way to elevate the bottom half of the poverty line financially from the world. It's going to happen through digital goods, not through physical ones. And that's really the most interesting thing about the metaverse. But we do need physical objects to kind of wake us up of where we're going into the digital future. Can we have the next slide, please? Sort of visual substance of this artwork. What I really love about this is that when I heard about the Tuaregs who'd come across some Jimi Hendrix music at some point, and then they made some trades and got some Telecaster or Fender guitars, and they started making their own kind of desert sort of psychedelic music that is an amalgam in between the East and the West. And what I really love about stuff like this is really the cultures coming together and making the best of each other and putting something new together. That's the essence of creativity to me in many ways. And what this resulted into, that when I came to Dubai for the first time a year ago, I was so impressed by the futuristic city and the development of everything that's going on, the Emirati space program, the tokenization of everything, the support of blockchain, all of these different issues. And I started going like, wow, so there's a whole rocket going to Mars. The whole place feels like it's liquid. It's so like inspiring and fluent in the way that it operates. And I wanted to have that kind of thing represented there. And the faces of the people, like for example, the lady here has the Emirati space program logo inside of her face, because I actually know an astronaut who's a lady who works with the program. And those might not be the first things that people think about when they come to this region of what's going on here. So that's why it's called Refresh. And the horses might just get tokenized, the royal horses, which is another thing that blockchain might help transform in this region. So there's an animation of it and a physical thing. So what's going on here? So there's a one-of-one artwork. So this is the only one that is going to be produced in this kind of a way. But then when you, through the Archivive app, you scan it, it becomes alive on the sort of physical thing. So you start to get to blend augmented reality and physicals together. And this particular artwork now is on super rare, and it's been bundled together that you actually buy the one-of-one digital animation as well as the one-of-one physical. So it's a very, very rare artwork indeed, and I hope it finds a good home. Next slide, please. So this, like in the intro video, I'm so privileged to present to you because I'm an art ambassador for a platform called Superworld, which is an augmented reality platform that has divided their world into 62 billion plots of land, essentially the Google Earth. And they cost 0.1 Ethereum each. And I actually own the Louvre of Abu Dhabi inside of Superworld. I bought it for 80 bucks, which I thought was pretty cool. But together with their team, we've been building their first virtual reality experience as they're evolving into this direction, which is the temple in Man, the Luxor temple in Egypt. And we modeled it with their 3D team and then made it into my personal gallery. And I have such an affinity for this building in the physical, of what it represents and what kind of a value structure it actually has, and guidance on how to keep society. So we've been building this for a year, and this is the third public presentation of this video ever. So I'm very, very happy to be showcasing it to you today. And so I have about 350 digital artworks that I've been making over the past 14 years. And to have them displayed like this, I mean, if you think, for the longest time, if you wanted to experience art, you went to a cold, white-walled gallery that has a certain kind of feel to it, and it's not really inviting. You might feel pressured to buy something, or there's a lot of tension that goes with the sort of legacy art world. But now what you can do is put on your virtual reality goggles when you're at home, at your own convenience, swimsuit or whatever it is, kind of having an art experience where you're completely immersed inside of the world that has been built to you. And if you do choose to buy something or collect something or whatever, that's entirely up to you. Or if you want to know more information about an artwork, hopefully it's embedded into that world. And no one has to be feeling like it's pressured that way. So it's really democratizing the whole experience of art. Next slide, please. Absolutely fantastic job of that. But that's really me. Does anyone have any questions? No? Super cool. I'm not going to take more. Oh, you have one? Okay.
If you want to create an NFT, what would you suggest for someone who doesn't know about it? Like, what would be the starts for it? Like, as I'm super new at it.
Sure. I mean, it's somehow, I don't know why it's so counterintuitive, but everyone's on YouTube all the time. All you need to do is go like how to make an NFT on YouTube, and you'll have 200 videos kind of showing you point to point, and that's it. And advice on the platforms and how to do it, and yeah, you'll have it all on YouTube. Yeah.
Vesa, I come from an analog background of gallery worlds. I have purchased around 10,000 old printing etched from copper plates, and I would like to use this opportunity possibly in the blockchain space, in the virtual art gallery space, to transform and use that essentially as a new channel of distribution. Now, step number one would be obviously to mint it rather than having the prints. They're one-dimensional though. Yesterday on your speech, your artworks are mostly three-dimensional, I understand, or they are very, very with cameras, very complicated renderings, and very, I would assume, cost-intense productions. How is it with the relatively conventional printed art space? How can you transform that? How can you put that, take that into the new world, so to say? Because all your works, they look very, very elaborate, they very time intense. What I have is essentially a 200-year-old press, like they used to print, hundreds of copper plates etched by hand.
Sure, I get it. So, well, the way most of my artworks actually originally, I started by, first I kind of got this idea that if I body paint on people and I photograph that process, and then I start to play about with paint and I do macro photography, if I put that together with Photoshop, I might have something new. So this is what I did in 2008. So most of these are actually two-dimensional, even though they've kind of been composed in layers and they're digital originals. But essentially what some, like Trevor Jones, for example, what he does is that he's a traditional oil painter, but he's very interested in technology. So what he did is that he found an animator and he took his paintings apart, kind of, and started animating them. So he wanted to offer something new to this emerging realm, and people were very excited about all different kinds of motion and what you can do. But I think now increasingly, the more sophisticated sort of understanding of art and the substance of it and what it's saying and what its history is and the history of the artists and all that kind of stuff is coming into this space slowly but surely. So you might not have to do anything but actually kind of digitize those into a high resolution realm. And then if you want to add to it somehow, you offer access with the NFT to something like an experience, or you might want to have someone animate some of that work and put it forward. It's really a completely different new realm, and you can have the foundations in the, like you said, in 200 years sort of copper plates, but then it's really whether you're able to capture people's attention with what you're doing and whether they want to participate in that ecosystem or not. So that's a little tricky, because the legacy art world and the understanding of what has made art valuable for thousands of years up until now was almost all thrown into the crash bin of the early beginnings of NFTs, because the majority of the collectors were crypto bros. So now with the Christie's and Sotheby's getting interested, the galleries getting interested, as it's been monetized and energized that way due to NFTs, now I think a lot of different kinds of things are going to be possible. So it really depends on your own creativity, and I would just encourage not to do it as a cash grab. Just to spend some time really thinking about it, of how to do it so that it offers value to people who are, yeah. Sure. It's one of the options, or you could even couple it together, that you make a high resolution scan of the piece, and you couple that with the physical one, and you, if someone buys it, you send them together. So that's one. Yeah, so depends on your investment of, I suppose, energy and finances and all kind of stuff. But you know, the world, it's full of opportunities, so I'm sure you'll find a way. Thank you. Any more questions? Wonderful. Okay, so you can find me at artforcrypto.com in the sort of signs here around if you want to find me for some reason, and I'm happy to talk with you after the talk. But my name is Vesa, and it's been a pleasure being in front of you all. So thank you very much.